Today we're going to be talking about Saros and whether I would recommend it to you guys. Saros is a PS5 exclusive from Housemarque, which is the same studio which is behind Returnal. And just so you guys know up front, this review is going to be completely spoiler free and it will be in the first 10 to 15 hours of gameplay. So if you've played Returnal, you kind of already know what you're getting into with this one, but Saros definitely does enough to make it feel like it stands on its own. Some areas improved, while some feel familiar, and a few things might divide people depending on your patience level. The first thing that really stood out to me was the art style. Saros leans heavily into this dark, almost haunting aesthetic, and it looks incredible. It's one of those games where every area feels carefully designed and it pulls you straight into the world. I love the lighting and the environments and the enemy design. It all comes together in something that I haven't really seen before. I did have some minor issues with lighting popping here and there, but honestly that was so rare and it doesn't really take away from the experience. Performance wise though, it's been rock solid and I hadn't run into any major frame drops at all or technical issues across my whole entire playtime of this game, and that's exactly what you want from something like this. Now I want to talk about the combat because I feel like that's where Saros really stands up. The weapons feel amazing and every single one of them has weight and impact, and the way that the adaptive triggers are used just adds to that. If you hold the aim trigger down halfway with the tension added to the trigger, you get a different way to use your weapon, and it's not always the same. There's multiple different versions of the same weapon, so when you pick one up, that secondary fire option could be completely different. It's really amazing. And that's something Saros absolutely nails as well. The PS5 controller integration across the board is absolutely incredible. The haptics and trigger effects are honestly some of the best I've seen in this generation. And the only game I'd put probably aside it or even say it's a bit better is Astrobot. I'm being honest with you guys, it really is that good. One thing I was surprised about and I really liked is how the game handles its exploration. It does reward you for backtracking, but it doesn't feel like it's forcing you. If you want to go back through areas and pick up the extra resources that you couldn't get before, you can. But if you don't, the game doesn't punish you for not doing that either. And something I didn't fully appreciate early on is just how well these areas are designed for combat. When you hit mini boss fights or even bigger encounter, you start to realise that they've designed the environment so it isn't just there to look good, it's actually built to be used. You can use the environment to hide or to move around and position yourself or dodge behind a wall. And it all comes together, especially in big fights, to really help you out. It's pretty amazing how they've done that here. I'm not going to give out any story details here, but in this world you play as Arjun. He's exploring the planet Carcosa, and this world is always changing. Every time you die things change, layouts, encounters and paths, and it always keeps you on your toes. And on top of that, they have mechanics that also play into that. You can press on this thing that corrupts the world and that changes the way it works as well. When the world becomes corrupted, enemies become more dangerous, their attacks can apply a corruption onto you, and that reduces your overall health unless you actively cleanse it when you're using your power attack. If you use your power attack, it just cleanses a little bit of that health. This really adds to the intensity for me. It adds that extra layer of that risk versus reward. Do you want to push deeper into the corrupted area for better rewards or play it safe? The best part is, for most areas you can actually choose whether you want the world to be corrupted, but I tend to always go towards it because you do get better things from it. The progression system in this game is another massive part of this experience. As you defeat enemies, they drop a currency and you want to be picking this up as much as possible because it feeds directly into the skill tree, which I didn't even really notice that at first at how much of a difference it really makes to this game. And on top of that, you've got artifacts that give you perks while you're playing, but there's a catch to some of them. In the corrupted areas, those same artifacts can come with negative effects, so you've got to choose the risk versus reward and find that balance for the way you want to play. You can also apply modifiers to make the game harder or easier in the settings at the base, which is nice for people who don't want to play it so hard because it can be a little bit difficult sometimes. And that's where this game might split people. The pacing can be frustrating if you're not patient, but if you make your way all the way through a level and die near the end, you're going to go back through everything. All the enemies and all the encounters, you're redoing the entire thing. If you go in expecting that, it's fine, it's just part of the design. But if you're not going into that expecting that, I can see it becoming annoying to someone really quickly. And as for the difficulty, I don't really agree with people saying that it's easier than Returnal. To me it feels about the same, but I guess it depends on the way you play the game as well. It's not insanely difficult, but it is intense, and when things get really chaotic, especially with multiple enemy types on the screen, it can get pretty overwhelming, but it's in a good way for me anyways. I feel like it really keeps you engaged and it's very exciting when you finish a certain level. Now the enemy design here for me is amazing. Every enemy feels different and they move differently, they attack differently, and they force you to adapt on the fly. And when the game throws a mix of them at you all at once, that's when things really start to get crazy, and I love that. There's also a surprising amount of variety as well in the environments, which surprised me. You go from forest-like areas to completely different zones that are filled with like a toxic green sludge that comes up out of the water. It keeps the game feeling fresh visually even after multiple runs, and I really appreciated that. There's also a couple of smaller issues though. One thing I noticed was with the side character dialogue. It can be a bit inconsistent, and I didn't think that would happen. I had moments where I'd walk past a character and I'd hear them say something, and then they'd say something completely different, but then eventually they would repeat that original line again. It's not the biggest deal, but it did break immersion for me a little bit, especially in a game that feels like it wants the dialogue to closely tie in with the story. So overall, where do I think Saros will land with people? Well, if you like Returnal or even found it interesting, you should absolutely play this. It's absolutely a must play. The combat is fun and the world is engaging and the progression systems work well. I really think the progression is good. And the overall experience is just really solid here. The story, for at least the first 15 or so hours anyways, has been good so far. I haven't finished the game yet, so I can't really say how that plays out, but it's definitely kept me interested the whole way. On the other side of that though, if you didn't like Returnal or you're not into these type of games, this isn't going to change your mind whatsoever. It stays pretty closely to that original formula, and the things that might have put you off before are definitely still here. So to cap off this video, Saros is a great game and it knows exactly what it wants to be. It's intense and rewarding, but it really demands patience from you. If that sounds like your kind of thing, you're going to have a really good time with it. If not, you probably shouldn't play this one. Now I want you guys to let me know in the comments below, have you played the game, and if you haven't, are you going to check it out? Now I want to thank you guys for sticking around with me on this channel and supporting me. That's all I've got for you guys now, so I'll talk to you in the next video.